You know who can guard? The Texas Tech Red Raiders. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but I do think that you can make the argument they're the best defensive team in college basketball. I believe they're still first on KenPom, despite the loss that they got at TCU tonight. But there's that big question about point guard play. So what does that group need to do to kind of get this thing steadied a little bit? We saw them on Tuesday, or maybe it was last week when they played Texas. They were up big and they ended up blowing a lead, and they almost ended up losing tonight. They ended up losing after they blew that lead. Ryan, what does Texas Tech need to do to kind of solidify their late game scenarios so that they don't end up blowing these leads?
Yeah, I just think it comes down. I think they're always going to hang their hat on that defense. I mean, they swarm everywhere. They're rotating. They're great at that. I think their main question is always going to be half court offense. I mean, today, they 66 points. Shot 58% from the field, which is good. But down the end of the stretch, like, who would you say their guy is? I guess, who, like, you want to give me a bucket or end a shot clock? Who can I count on to get to the line? Maybe. I don't know who that would be. Defensively, they're unreal, though. So they'll be in every game.
That's the reason I feel like, Terrence Shannon has to be that guy. Did I say that in the break? I get them all mixed up. Was that the break? Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, Terrence Shannon has to be that guy at the end of the clock, because they have a bunch of guys that can work within an offense. Like Adonis Arms is somebody who, if he's catching it on a closeout, he can get somewhere. Kevin O'Banner needs to be able to catch and shoot, or he needs to be able to catch in one dribble to make something happen. Terrence Shannon needs to be that guy at the end of the clock. And if you look at this TCU team that ended up beating them by 3 at home, like, Mike Miles is the kind of guy that can shoot over top of that was the no middle defense, because he's shooting before he gets to that help. So whenever you're pressuring so high, like you do in that defense, if you're able to get to that mid-range and shoot over the top, you're going to have some opportunities. He was fantastic tonight. Ends up with 26 and shot great percentage. What was he, 10 of 15? And if you do that against Texas Tech, you're a dude. I don't care where it's at. You're playing at home, away. You do it against Texas Tech, and they're so switchable. With Mike Miles being able to score the way he does, you're taking away a lot of what Texas Tech is good at, and that's taking you out of your offense because you have an ISO scorer.
Listen, I love them. I love what they've done and what Mark Adams can do defensively, but I do worry about it because, again, if you don't have a dude, like, how far can you go with Kevin McCullough and TJ Shannon and not knowing who your guy is and how you're going to be able to manufacture points? Because, again, it gets tighter in the NCAA tournament. It just does, right? And you're not going to be able to, you'll be able to guard, especially in that turnaround game, the quick turn game. I think a lot of teams are going to have trouble, but maybe if you have time to prepare, it's going to be a little bit easier. Maybe you've seen a defense like his before, because a lot of teams are starting to play the Mark Adams defense now. You're seeing it again, obviously Beard, but other teams like North Texas.
Baylor did a lot, but it's no one's going to do it like Texas Tech does it, because Texas, nobody in the country has 9 guys that are 6'6" with 7-foot wingspans and 230 pounds of solid muscle. Yeah. Like, they got a bunch of defensive ends out there that can guard anybody. It's literally what it is. They have defensive ends out there that can guard anybody. Now, again, if you look at the teams that made the Final Four and that made the Elite Eight when Chris Beard had them, who was on those rosters? Keenan Evans, Big 12 Player of the Year. Jarrett Culver was a first round. What was he? Number 6 pick, right? Matt Mooney was a 23-year-old grad transfer that was a stud that ended up playing in the NBA for a little bit. Those were the dudes that you could go to at the end of a clock. Right now, it's like, did you see the shot that TJ Shannon took at the end, like down by 3? The shot that he got with 11 seconds left, it was a horrible shot. It made Wendell Green's shot decision making look good. Adonis Arms is not a guy that you necessarily want isolating and going creating something. So I do think that is there a bigger takeaway from this? Just the lack of point guard play? Is that going to create more situations for upsets this season, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, it should. It should. I don't know. I mean, again, I feel like if you have one, and that's why a team we haven't talked about today because they didn't play is Villanova. But I feel like if you have one that's reliable, that's experienced, that, again, Villanova just doesn't beat themselves. I feel like in the tournament, you trust a player like that, a player like Colin Gillespie. How many of those guys are there? Like, we thought Akinjo was one. He's not. He can't make a shot anymore. Andrew Nemhard's good. Like there aren't any. There aren't any. That's why I still feel like Villanova might be able to win another damn title.
I don't know. I can't go that far. They don't have any pros
All right.
on the roster. But I do think I think we're underrating Andrew Nemhard if you don't think that he's really, really good.
I'm there
I think
with
he's
you
really, really good. I do. This year, I think he's really, really good. And he's really, really good for Gonzaga. How's that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly right. And he was really good against their good competition.
Right.
In the pre-conference and everything like that. Like his ability to handle tempo, either push it or know when to slow it down for some of his bigs. I thought he was terrific. If you look at the teams that have point guards, Gonzaga, Kentucky, and that's if they're completely healthy. I like the way Kentucky's going too. So you throw them in that mix.
Yeah, Ryan, you played against that Gonzaga team last year, didn't you? Were you in that same event, or you just saw them up close?
No, they played. No, we played Auburn and Kansas. They played Kansas and Auburn. We didn't play Gonzaga though. No, I saw them, but we didn't play them.
Yeah, so that was a bad segue by me. Good job hosting, right, Rob? Anyway, so we got Gonzaga here. They're down by 7 with 5 minutes left. That looks like it's going to end up being a fun end